Lehigh Valley with Love Music. Phil, you're so excited to talk to your favorite band.
I might have a jazz album. I might have a folk album. I might put out a dance album. I don't know.
I remember this one time. I'd been writing some songs, and I went out. I'm just going right in on this story. I went out, and so.
And listen, it's going to be everybody's favorite band.
This is weird music. A lot of opportunities sprung up pretty fast. The affirmation just kept happening, like you're doing the right thing.
Welcome to Lehigh Valley with Love Music. I am your co-host, Philip Reese, and along with Mr. Lehigh Valley with Love, George Wacker, we seek to bring you the very best in music happening in the area and the stories behind them. Hopefully bringing you something you hadn't heard or didn't know, all in an effort to enhance your enjoyment of live music. Each month we connect with artists, musicians, bands, and the like who are either from the area or have played here at a festival like Music Fest, or one of the many venues that consistently bring exciting live music to the Lehigh Valley year-round.
Oh, hey, Phil, can you hear me? That worked.
I can hear you.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, we're here.
That worked out awesome.
Welcome. I'm George Wacker, your co-host of the Lehigh Valley with Love podcast, Music Edition. I am here with music aficionado Phil Reese. Phil, I got a new RoboCop vest. I'm very excited about it.
And that's very appropriate because wasn't that in Detroit?
That was. I mean, it's the other side of Michigan. We're going to talk about Michigan. I'm excited.
Big time Michigan. Yeah, it's going to come
We
up.
have two different musical artist guests tonight, but multiple people. The Accidentals and Gangstagrass. First,
It's going to be a great night.
Housekeeping quickly. I want to make sure that we thank, you can see them in the bottom, our partners, Arts Quest, Molly's Irish Grill and Sports Pub, and Michael Bernardin with Remax Realty. They help us by supporting us, and we would like you to help support us if you want to get involved. You
Sure.
can be a guest. Come on. There's a lot of fun things that we can do. And we're going to have some giveaways tonight, including
Two giveaways.
Tickets for Gangstagrass at Brooklyn Bowl in Philadelphia.
Beautiful.
And we have an Accidentals swag kind of bag.
Yeah, swag gift
So,
pack. One
we wanna
giveaway per artist.
Let's get right into it. I feel like it's later, but it's 6:00.
No, we're good. We're good. We are good.
It's exciting. I'm really excited to hear them play. They're going to play live for us.
Oh my God,
but
it's so good.
I wanted to begin by introducing the Accidentals long before the glowing acclaim from NPR and Billboard, pack shows, unforgettable festival appearances, millions of streams, and collaborations with everyone from BTS to Kaboom Collective. The journey of the Accidentals commenced in a public high school classroom in Traverse City, Michigan, which is always fun. I like where it begins because we're going to find out where it goes. Do you want to, before we bring them in, want to
let's play some of that?
Yeah, say what this one was. I think you took it.
Yeah, so this back in October, they played at Ardmore Music Hall, which is kind of halfway between here and Philly. Great venue. And they played there, and this is one of the selections off their latest release, Vessel. And the song is called Damascus Blades.
I hope I get the right one here. Is this it? All right. Enough talk. Let's bring in the Accidentals. Well, two of them.
Hi,
Hey,
what's
what's
up?
up?
Welcome,
Nashville, correct?
Sav and Katie.
How's it going? Thanks for having
How are
us.
you guys doing?
We're great. We're actually in our home studio in Nashville, Tennessee right now, Crooked Moon Studios. And actually, last night we finished recording our Time Out 2 EP, which
Yeah.
Oh, it finished last night.
finished
the
recording it last
final,
night.
yeah, the final vocal tracks were all bounced and everything was mixed down.
The 58th
That's
take
incredible.
of that vocal was finally compressed into one file, and we sent it to our mixing engineer. So
You seem like you
cheers.
feel good about it.
Oh, real good. We're feeling real good about it.
And you guys have been, I've been noticing, taking advantage of the pandemic to really focus on songwriting, kicking out lots of, product, if you will. And I think it's you're making, lemonade out of the lemons that are there. If we can't tour and you can't gig, then you might as well produce more music and have that be something that gets out there.
Yeah, well, I think it was almost therapeutic for us. We reached out to a lot of friends who, conveniently, because of the pandemic, they also were not doing anything. I mean, a lot of people lost their income, especially,
Sure.
musicians lost their touring. And so when we reached out to some of these people, some of our heroes, they all said yes to co-writes. So that's kind of how we kept ourselves going creatively during this time. And we're lucky enough to say that we have written a bunch of songs with people we really admire. So...
That's
Yeah.
so cool. That is so cool. And I think we'll get more into the kind of chronology of this. But if I remember right, Vessel was ready to come out. You kind of shelved it, put Time Out 1 out now, and then now Time Out 2 is coming out here. So Vessel's almost like the kind of sandwich in between the two. That's really cool that you're kind of adapting to what you feel is like the right thing. Because Vessel was about to be finished right when pandemic hit, correct?
Vessel was postponed so many times, which, it was such a relief to get it out because a lot of those songs we'd had ready, in our back pockets, and we'd started producing it with two of our bucket list producers, John Congleton in LA and Tucker Martine in Portland, who work with collectively like the Decemberists and St.
Sure.
Vincent. And so we were like all ready to go out to Portland and finish the record, and then bam, like lockdown hit. And so we ended up just... we finished a lot of Vessel on our own in our home studio while we were quarantined in Michigan all together. Sav and me and Michael were all pretty much in one spot for all of 2020 and most of 2021. And
Michael, the drummer.
Yeah.
Right.
He helped us hugely too. Like we were really hands-on with Vessel, and then we just waited because we wanted to put it out as soon as we could tour it. And so that show you came to on the fall tour was a really big piece, finally getting that out.
Really emotional
And it's
time.
tremendous.
Yeah.
Like the music really is incredibly well written. And obviously when I'm going to a show of a band that I'm a huge fan of, I'm always hoping for some of the older tracks to get played. And, you guys did it as almost like a release show, which good for you, because that made me just take it so much more in the moment. And I was happy that you did it that way. But so initially I'm walking in hoping to hear all these other songs. And then I was thrilled that it was just purely dedicated to that album right there. And it really sings. It really plays very well.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really happy with it. It's kind of a culmination of 10 years of us being in the same space as each other and picking up a lot of inspiration from the road. And, there's a long time coming.
a radically different project than this sort of Time Out project that we're working on now.
Yeah.
Vessel, that tour was so, we had a lighting engineer for half of it, and we had, Patty Pershela.
I was going to mention that,
as a part-time member filling out these great bass lines and guitar lines.
Totally.
And now what we're doing is like so stripped down. We're gonna embark on this Songwriters in the Round tour, which will be like just us and an acoustic guitar.
Yeah,
Sure.
very Bluebird Cafe style.
That's I was just going to say like that Bluebird kind of thing, right where you're at in Nashville right now.
Do you think your music? I mean, I guess the answer is yes, because there's no way around it. But do you think like your musical path changed once COVID hit? Like, do you think you're maybe writing things differently than you would have if you never had to stop touring?
Oh yeah, for
Absolutely.
sure. I mean, a lot of the time spent in COVID and quarantine, we kind of focused in on our writing style specifically, and we were doing a lot of co-writing with people over Zoom, and that really changed the way we write too. It's because we were looking more deeply at our lyrics after that, and like, what kind of story do we want to tell here? What's the point? And a lot of the songs actually for Time Out 1 were written kind of about the grieving process that I think a lot of people went through think everybody came really in touch with the things that they already struggled with. And when you're alone with your own thoughts, I think that just gets amplified. And so a lot of the songs off Time Out 1 were kind of about cycling and processing through that grief and that loss. And so that was, that definitely changed our writing style. And it's also another reason why we decided to put Time Out 1 out first before Vessel. Was just because those songs really needed to come out, and they were kind of therapeutic for not just for us, but for
like the sequel that we're working on, Time Out 2. It is like a lot of different elements we haven't done before. Like there's a little more like funk in there, like a little more like a little more folky, like just elements that we started with, but that we really honed in with these just legendary songwriters. Yeah. Which I don't think I could have written by myself in the last few years. I was just too burnt out.
Yeah, for sure.
I needed people.
Like, what else can you say when we're all experiencing the same exact thing? It's hard to write about it, but it's exactly the right time to get with other people and talk about it. You can't just be alone with it.
That's right. It's like what you're saying is exact, like, bizarre truth. Is like we were all in the same experience and yet alone with it. And so, like, I think that's where music can really be therapeutic, in that it's helping people not feel alone anymore, and that they are, can work through it and push through it. So that's really cool.
Yeah, the universal connection.
Yes, absolutely.
I just want to go to the beginning, and then Phil, you can take it, because I've been waiting to do this. This is Traverse, right? This is
Traverse. It's actually weird. Traverse. The emphasis on the syllable is different. Yeah, Traverse City is where we come
in
from.
the part of Michigan nobody really thinks about much.
I think when I first moved there in 2000, I was born in Nashville, and when I first moved there, it wasn't on the map, and by the time I left, it was on the map. So it's known for the Cherry Festival. And
what do you guys call this thing?
Traverse City,
peninsula.
That's a peninsula.
Peninsula.
I know, but I don't know. It just looks.
We call it peninsula.
Actually,
no, it's the pinky of the middle.
Yeah, the definition is you hold up your hand and then you point to. I might be doing this wrong.
It's hard.
You got it.
Are hard. Yeah.
Well, this is the state of Pennsylvania. Wait, does this look correct? So
there you go. I don't know. It kind of looks like Tennessee.
Well, this is Erie.
There you go.
Philly's over here, right? That works.
We're doing hand puppets, and I didn't expect that one tonight. Actually,
tell us about growing up there and how that maybe shaped you musically. That's why I brought it up, because I think it's interesting. It is a smaller town, and you guys are doing really well. So how did growing up in that area maybe shape you?
Yeah, well, we, like you mentioned, we actually met in our public school. So we're really lucky. Traverse City is a small town with a really tight community, lots of local music, lots of local places to play music, like strong breweries and independent bookstores and coffee stores and farmers markets and festivals. So, we were lucky that our school had this really great orchestra program, which a lot of schools don't have, or even have music programs in general. So Sav and I were both playing violin and cello, and our teacher really encouraged us to pick up alternative styles. So we started getting into folk music from, Sav's family, who her parents met in Nashville. She brought a lot of that.
We bought Led Zeppelin arrangements online and used to play them in a quartet after school.
That's one quick thing on this. Sav, I read that your birth was announced on the stage of the Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah, so my dad, I was actually born 2 days earlier. I was supposed to be born on the 4th of July, so my dad was on his way to a gig with Whispering Bill Anderson. And then I was like, nah, you're not doing that. And I decided to arrive early, and so my dad borrowed a truck, one of the band members' trucks, to drive back. But I guess Whispering Bill Anderson was like, well, my keyboard player's gone, but he's currently having a kid right now, so her name's Savannah Cheyenne Bice, and there you have it. So I wasn't there, obviously, so I'm paraphrasing. But
you don't remember that?
Okay. I mean, how great is that? My birth was announced on the Grand Ole Opry. That's a great way to start.
I'm about to apply for school down here. I did apply, and I've got I needed a letter of recommendation for one of my community college professors, and he put, I've never had a student whose birth was announced by Whispering Bill Anderson in my letter of recommendation, so I really hope that the school just eats that up.
I'm sure they will. So back to now, you guys meet in high school, and I'm sure it's this thing where it's like, okay, we clearly show talent, we want to do this more often, but I don't see this in the music industry, but you get a visit from the Moxie Strings. Yes. And that seems to be something that establishes your belief that this could happen. So could you share some more about that?
Yeah, Moxie Strings are a duo, 2 women who play violin and cello, and they do lots of different styles, but a lot of fiddle tunes and Celtic
rock,
music and Scottish music, and a lot of Allie plays an electric cello that I ended up buying. So I was really inspired by the way she plays electric cello.
Sure.
And they really taught us to be fearless and take on improvisation, which is something I was absolutely terrified of doing. Like I could not play anything that was not written on a page at that point. And so they are a professional band, and watching them come into our school and do a workshop, like Sav and I were just like, hey, let's do that. And we started as a duo, kind of following in their footsteps for a long time. And then we added Michael in on drums a few years later. So
and that's just got to be so empowering and powerful to be able to see, hey, now that's I can do this.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, I feel like it's important to have somebody who's like tangible and in front of you and showing you that it's possible. I think like representation is really important in that way. When you see somebody like you doing the thing you want to do, then you're more encouraged to try it.
Of course.
And did you guys then, how did you start gigging? Was it something where, small town, you kind of know everybody, you go to the coffee shop, they can get you, what was your process in getting
No, we were introverts. We still are. But there's a really strong community scene up in Traverse City and very artistically supportive and creatively supportive. And so, our first gig was at this bookstore. It's called Horizon Books, and we played... we were supposed to play a set of only original music because they didn't have, they weren't able to support, cover songs, essentially.
That's so funny.
That's how we wrote our first album. We were like, we got a week, let's just write, a bunch of original tunes to play at this gig. And
we can't play Smoke on the Water there.
No. But that, it was really cool. We played a lot of breweries, and, we were 15 and 16 when we started the band, and so it was really cool for those places to be like, nah, don't worry about it. Come on in. We trust you, and we'll support you. And,
and a lot of other artists, too, who asked us, they saw Sav and I playing violin and cello and singing harmonies, and they were like, hey, do you want to sit in on our set? We're playing at this big festival. And we're like, yes, please.
That was huge.
And then that became
I have homework
a reoccurring thing.
Right afterwards.
Oh, seriously though, not even joking. Yeah, it was like, okay, right after school, here we go. We got to go load in.
Gosh, long weekend. We skipped prom.
We did.
Yeah, my boyfriend at the time was really disappointed.
I'm sorry, I'm trying to be a famous musician.
You'll thank me later. But then, so you graduate high school 2014, I believe, and you kind of crowdfund the Bittersweet album, correct?
Wow, is that the order of operations? I think we.
Yeah,
I guess I did graduate the same year.
Yeah, you're a year older than me, so
yeah.
You graduated 2013. Sav waited around and got her audio tech degree while she was waiting for me to graduate.
You gotta do something.
We crowdfunded Bittersweet for sure because we didn't know
a whole tour to our first time at South by Southwest as well in 2015.
Yeah.
It was all crowdfunded.
What would you say was your, did you have a moment? Because, you're playing with very reputable people and, especially in your community, well-respected musicians did you have a moment, or are you still kind of waiting for that where you feel like, wow, we made it? Or
every day we have another moment because your definition of success is really what defines your level of happiness, I think. For us, success means just being able to play music and write music every single day and, be able to do something creative in that regard. And so every day is another moment, and we're really experiencing a lot of surreal things. For instance, one of my favorite artists of all time is Kim Ritchie. I've been listening to her songs since I was 5, and because of this OBS manual I wrote over COVID, I got a chance to talk to her about live streaming, which turned into, oh, hey, do you want to write a song together? Which now is, hey, we're going to go on tour together and we're going to be your backing band. So it's just, that's another surreal moment of just,
and that's part of that Time Out too thing, right?
Yeah. She's part of Time Out too, but we're also...
But I didn't know anything about I know you guys mentioned it before you came on. I guess you were joking, but What OBS manual for live streaming? I might need to download.
And
it is for StreamYard.
Yeah, it's for everything. It's for OBS, StreamYard, Zoom, but mostly OBS for me. I started a to-do list of like, here's how you do this thing, because when the world shut down, a lot of musicians had to transfer over to a virtual setting in order to continue to make income.
We've been doing like 250 shows a year, and so it was a very unexpected stop for us.
So like the first thing we did was just started testing out different live streaming platforms, and so I was like, okay, these are the specs for Facebook, and these are the specs for Twitter, and these are the specs for YouTube, and it became this big to-do list for the program called OBS, which is a free broadcasting software. And that became a 40-page manual on how to basically stream from Zoom and StreamYard and Crowdcast and OBS and stage it and just a bunch of platforms. So eventually it was this free living Google document, and it got picked up by Hypebot, and then it got picked up by the Recording Academy and the Grammys, and they reached out, and so we were doing consultations and panels for all these artists, and for the Recording Academy and the Grammys. It's just like bonkers. Like, that's another surreal success moment.
You think they would have some, but like, nope. It's like you wrote the manual. Like that blows my. I think it's fantastic.
Well, I mean, OBS is a free program, and they offered their services for free, and they were Patreon funded, and so it just made sense to put out a free manual, especially since everybody's struggling during this time. So
I think too, like what made looking back on it, Sab, I think what made it special was like we are, and like you are a DIY musician, like doing this, so you're like.
I think this is how it works.
You're like, this is how we
trial and error.
You're like, don't look into don't stare off into the distance, like blah blah blah. Because it was such a different thing to learn as a musician to do both sides at once.
That's true. It was written in a really conversational manner because I'm no nerd. I am a nerd, but I don't know like the specifics of what I was doing. It was definitely meant for musicians and for people trying to broadcast. So.
But it's even, not to go off on us, but even between Phil and me, like we're talking about all this stuff early, and this is amazing how. You guys are going to perform a little bit. We can show music. We can give away some stuff. It's just amazing how even in those short 2 years, how it went from a boring Zoom meeting to now we're doing this.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
That intro song was fantastic.
Yeah,
we were jamming out. Your little intro. We're like, this is
Phil's editing prowess. We had to play that, but we're getting more technical.
Okay.
And so let's get to a live song, but real quick. We touched on Michael joining the band. There's an interesting story there too. Wasn't he just like a fan of yours and showed up to a gig and was like, you guys needed a drummer and it just kind of worked out?
It's even funnier than that.
I love it.
He was a fan, and we met at Bliss Fest, which is in Harbor Springs, Michigan. And I think the first conversation we ever had was him going up to Katie and being like, do you know Doctor Who? And she's like, no. Do you know Andrew Bird? And he's like, no. And so we thought this was like over, We were like, well, okay, well, that was awkward.
Okay, bye.
He just keeps asking for the next.
But I used to put songs up like on SoundCloud, and we became friends, over the course of that. And I remember he hit me up one day and he's like, hey, can I add drums to this song that you have up? And I was like, you play drums? Have you not known we were looking for a drummer? And he's like, no.
Yeah, first we tried to hire him to be our sound engineer, actually.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, so he put drums on the song.
Do you know OBS? Because I wrote a manual.
Not yet. That was
no, but he
Time Machine.
I think our first real show with him was on Mackinac Island, where you can't really bring a full drum kit because there's no cars. There's only horses and buggies. I'm not even kidding you. This is actually true. So he had to bring a box.
This is like in between.
So he had to bring
a box. We're back to the oven mitt.
And he played this box at this gig, and we were like, this guy's amazing because he knew all of our songs and all the covers that we did. He knew those artists too. So yeah, it worked out.
Where is Mackinac Island?
Oh, go towards where the Upper Peninsula and the other one connect.
Yeah, right.
There it is. Now you got it.
You see that bridge? That's yeah.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
Hey, little known, not that anybody cares, but I have been on this island. Did you know it is the smallest school district in the United States?
I need my glasses for this.
Washington Island.
But is that going to be?
What's Rock Island?
You don't go there. But no, the smallest school district in the U.S. Random knowledge. Okay, Phil, I'm going to let you.
Fantastic.
Parlay live
music. Right. So now we're in this this recording of the crowdfunded Bittersweet, and it has. Again, I'm a huge fan of that whole album. Anybody who's not heard The Accidentals, you should go back and listen to that one. Like, to me, it's got such great spirit to it. It's such a great foundation for what you guys are accomplishing today. And it still has my favorite song, and you've agreed to play it tonight. So thank you for that.
Yeah, we played it like a whole 2 whole steps down today. So
that's, like you said, as 7 years go by, you got to change the song. Yep. But it also has a cool story. So we'll take us off the screen. You guys can talk about the song and then play it, and then we'll come back out and keep going.
Sure thing. Yeah, sounds good. So, Bulletproof Glass was a song written about a book that I read by Peter Bogdanyi. He's a great author. And basically, not to spoil the book or anything, I promise I won't. It's a short synopsis. It's about a boy who lives in a glass tourist attraction dome with his psychotic grandmother who just keeps him from having like a real social life. But he manages to break out, and he makes friends with this punk rock kid with a heart defect who tells him that Napoleon was like the first punk rocker. And I just thought that was the coolest thing, so I decided to write a song about it. And I remember I was playing it for my parents, and they were like, "You should send it to Peter Bogdanyi, the author of the book that inspired you." And I was like, "Nah, man, this is basically plagiarism. I don't really know if he needs to know about this." But they were like, "No, I think all art is plagiarism. You should do it." I was like, "Okay." So I sent this song to him, and he sent me back an email like 5 hours later, and he was like, "This is so great. I'm going to play this on my book tour. Thank you so much for sharing your art." And I just thought that was the coolest. And it really showed me that we tend to put people on pedestals. And really, if we're all doing something artistic, we're all speaking the same language. Pedestals aren't necessary. So now that the story's longer than the song itself, we'll go ahead and play it. It's called Bulletproof Glass.
Residing in a fragile dome,
Yay!
Yay!
Now we're convoluted. How do I do this one? There we go. Nice.
Boom. Awesome. Thank you so much. I love that song so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So, how do you decide on the cello? Like, what is it? I know that you said you saw them, but is it more to that? Is there something that you really enjoy about the instrument? I guess. Like, what did you grow to love? I guess.
Well, when I was in 5th grade, I really wanted to play saxophone, but I tried it out and they told me I had bad lung capacity.
That was back when they were really brutal.
How rude.
Yeah. Well, I liked, at the time, cello was sort of the underdog instrument, like everyone. I was actually the only cellist, the only person in my whole school who wanted to play cello for like 4 years. So I had a really good time to bond with it.
Be less.
See, but those are my 2 favorite instruments.
Banjo's quite cool.
Like to score for. I think like the arrangements, when we're arranging songs for orchestras, we do a lot of that with youth orchestras, and I'm always like trying to give the French horn way more than they actually want. I actually had one conductor like pull me aside. He's like, "Listen, French horns don't play that much. They need a lot of breath."
We only have one French horn.
Give some more to the sousaphone.
No, like some instruments need to actually like breathe. We don't rely on that. We can breathe and play at the same time. Right. So
true, very true.
Poor saxophone and French horn.
No, but cello is my favorite too. There's some artists out there that play that, and it's just it sounds like angelic. It really does.
Je ne sais quoi, like the goosebumps. Like,
George is busting out the French.
Yeah, sultry. We naturally chose complementary instruments, and that's been like this sort of like accidental.
That was no accident.
Friendship, right? It's like Sav. The great thing about cello is, you can have a high range, but really you can do a lot of bass work, and a lot of chordal work, which is sort of how we started as a duo. Was I would kind of hold down the bass lines, and then Sav would turn her violin sideways and be like, it sounds like a mandolin. But then we learned, over the years to like switch up roles and add like cool pedals and electric instruments. But I think that's sort of how we work as well. We kind of balance each other out, just like the instruments do. So.
Yeah. Phil, before you go, I just want before you continue. It's just interesting that you say that, because it's like, you used to think, I guess, when you're going to start a rock band, it's the guitar, bass, drums, whatever. But you could do it with a mandolin. Like, we know a band in our area that is rocking as anybody, Fig for a Kiss. And it's not your traditional type of, I guess, band that you would think to start out, but it makes sense and it sounds great.
Totally.
That's all.
Yeah.
Go on.
Now you're seeing a lot of bands like that these days, especially like power trios who are just utilizing like low frequency, high frequency, somebody to hold down the backbone, and that's
And that's what you were even kind of sharing it there is like, well, I'll handle the percussion element of this while you jam, and then we'll flip it the other way, and as long as you have that, then you've got magic.
Yeah. Well, the chemistry is also, I think when we come together and do an arrangement process, it's always like a very intentional thing. Sorry, I'm laughing at the comments. You're right. You're absolutely right, Tara. You're 100% correct. But no,
and Tara plays the violin, so that's why she's sharing that too.
No, it's great.
That's awesome.
But I would say the arrangement process is really communicative too, and like we're really intentional about who's doing what, and we try to turn it on its head every once in a while, especially as the power trio.
Yeah. So continuing down the story. A little bit after that, you were able to release in 2016 Parking Lot. And that gets a lot of, I don't know where the moment happens that George was kind of happening, but there's definitely a moment here where it does take a leap. I think it happens at South by Southwest. You end up getting signed by Sony, correct?
Yeah, so I think it was our song Michigan and Again, which is so funny because we just kind of put it out and we weren't expecting really much, we were just like, here's a song, and it blew up pretty much overnight. We put out a video with it of us just recording in the studio and kind of interlaced with a lot of the footage from the past years of touring, and something about it really hit home. And I think it was I think it's just this very nostalgic song. Like, we get a lot of people who come up and say that, you know, they had to leave Michigan and go to another state, and they think about Michigan a lot. Or some people, like this couple in California came up and they were like, "You play Michigan and again, we don't know anything about Michigan, but it makes us homesick." And, you know, so
that's cool.
That really took off. And I think that's, you know, that's what led to the Sony deal, was just the, you know, it just was in their radar. So
it gave us a lot of momentum.
And,
speaking of which, I forgot to show I'm wearing my Accidentals
so good
oven mitt, and we could have been pointing at this. Like, where Traverse City is.
Any time in the UP?
Yeah, actually, we have a song about the UP that we're gonna play later today. But yeah, we it's so funny because we wrote that with Peter Mulvey, who's from Wisconsin. And for those of you who don't know, the UP is this. Here you got your mitten. This is this stretch of land that kind of exists.
Wait, I got it.
There you
between Wisconsin and Michigan. Right up there, that's the lower peninsula, and then right up there's the upper. So,
what a weird piece of geography, right? Like, why does? I mean, we could talk about it.
There's a whole historical.
Let's save that for the geography podcast and the American history podcast.
So weird, Michigan.
But off of that parking lot, which by the way, it's our giveaway tonight. We have this signed vinyl single, which also includes a digital download. This is the giveaway tonight.
Heck yeah.
Signed by the band. We also are giving away Vessel, but we haven't talked about that yet, so we'll get to that later. But off of that, the Huffington Post called it, they listed it on the Sweet 16 of 2016, and Billboard called you guys a band to watch. I mean, like, that's where you're starting to get some really good press. And that's you know, I think that's really, really an amazing thing for you guys.
Thank you. Yeah, it was crazy. Life was a blur, and, you know, pretty soon after that, we got picked up by Sony Masterworks, and that's when we really started focusing on, like, okay, what's next? You know, so it definitely felt like a move.
Yeah, I think with Sony Masterworks isn't typically going to sign a band like a radio band. Like, that's Yo-Yo Ma was on Sony Masterworks. Like, those are people who are like, back to the cello, holy cow. Like, you know, it's the kind of thing where it's like they must have known the quality of the songwriting and the maturity that you were bringing to the music industry to be able to sign you guys to that, because that's no joke. That's a big deal.
Man, we were really honored. I know that when we were looking at the roster of, like, Tall Heights, Yo-Yo Ma, Branford Marsalis, like, so many legendary musicians who were musicians, which is always something we kind of strive to do in the background. You know, we do a lot of session work too at the studio, and we all play. I mean, I think we play like 13 instruments between the two of us, which are all strings. We don't play anything that requires spit and breathing, but you know, so it was really exciting to be you know, listed alongside those names, and we were just really honored. And we flew out to New York and we met with them and did all kinds of talking about the next album, which I'm sure you'll get into next of Odyssey. But
so that's Odyssey. That's now like a big release that comes out. Yeah.
Yes, we worked on.
We
worked on that. Yeah.
Go ahead and talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, we worked on that in Nashville and in Asheville, the two bills. So that was the process of that was really interesting. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but
yeah, we man, that was another weird time. So this was like the fall of 2016.
Oh yeah.
I think. So we were like, there's this beautiful studio. We did most of the tracking with Jason Lenning producing, and we were pretty much holed up in this studio for like a few weeks in North Carolina, and we had like the basement room, you know? So we were in there for the course of, like, first of all, it was like the Cubs game.
Well, don't forget that we had
Chicago, so like the world was going crazy.
But
so,
don't forget we also had Jenny Conley from the Decemberists was with us at the time.
Then so all of us huddled up. We were like, okay, this is crazy. Then the election, the 2016 election happened. Halloween happened. We were just like living in this basement, and everything was going crazy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Odyssey was really, it was a really important record because a lot of those songs we had written in high school, and we finally getting to record them in our sort of early 20s.
Well, plus there was like a lot of collaborations with artists that we really admired. Like we had Keller Williams play on that record. We had Kathy King play on that record. Jenny Conley of the Decemberists flew out and played on a couple of songs. So that was just like a really exciting time to work with people we really admired as well.
That's incredible. And again, the praise continues. NPR says that you're some of the most compelling songwriters of our time. I mean, like, it's crazy what is coming out, and it's just so cool for you guys. So that continues. Unfortunately, and I love this story. I'm sure it's a terrible story in the moment, but in 2018, you're working on, I believe it's Vessel. Is that what you're working on at the time? And your van
2019
gets stolen.
Yeah, in 2019, January of 2019. So almost exactly 3 years ago. Wow.
Yeah, it was sort of ironic since we were on our way cross-country touring to get to California for this big instrument and gear convention in Anaheim called the NAMM Show. And meanwhile, we have our trailer with, we're lucky that we have a lot of sponsors. It's kind of a general theme, like Sony and these sponsors and our business team, people who have invested in us from an early age. And so we had this trailer full of gear and like wireless units and merch and pedal boards and all of this custom made stuff because our live show is just crazy complicated. And then overnight, the van broke down. So we parked, and the next morning the trailer had been stolen from the parking lot, and we found out from the mechanic shortly after that the transmission was dead in the van.
Yeah, so we had to replace the entire engine.
That was the end of Betty for our van.
Yeah. Well, not really, because we replaced the engine, and then the end of actual Betty was 6 months later when when somebody ran a red light and totaled the van. So we lost, and then 2020 happened. So yeah, crazy year.
And like I said, but I think the silver lining, I guess might be the phrase, is people heard about it, and in like a 2-day span, there was like a giant sum of money raised to get you guys back on the road and running again. So like, there's an element there of like, I remember seeing it on social media or in emails or whatever, and it was like this really cool moment of like, you guys were in need and people rallied.
Man, it was amazing because not only did people like contribute like to help support us and get our gear back, but some people were on the lookout for the gear who lived in Arizona. There's Tucson press came around it and helped us look. We found some pieces of equipment that we really needed from that, like Kate's flight cello case we found at a pawn shop, and we rebought it for $45. That's not what it cost originally, but we were happy to get it back. So,
we had so many people, like everyone was like reaching out to us, and they're like, can we give you a gas card? Can we give you like cookies? Can we do all this? And so we ended up the other thing that came out of that was our Patreon, which we've been using for like 3 years now. And
we should definitely talk about that. Yeah, you have the Patreon called the Fam Grove.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Named after the mangrove, which is a song on that Bittersweet album, but people can go find that another time. But so the Patreon is something I like to bring up because a lot of people we bring on for interviews do belong to it. And it's something that I think is a very cool, it's almost like you're buying a subscription in an artist. Like it's something like you're supporting them. It feels like the 1500s, like I want to support this artist and I'm going to be like, almost like just supporting them on a regular basis. So I think it's something that more people should do. I think more people should be looking to find an artist that means something to them and to do this. And so I always want to make sure that we do spend a moment to talk about that, because you even recently have been talking about without that, you may not have made it through this time.
For sure. Yeah. It's so it's basically like this club of people who are just really excited to support the music, but basically what you get out of it is depending on what tier you sign up for. What's financially comfortable, you can get access to our weekly blogs in which we're writing about what we're up to. We have a book club that we read a book every month and then we get together and we talk about it. We have a throwback album review. It's really similar. Our patrons pick out an album that we'd like to all listen to, introduce each other to new music, and we listen to it and talk about it. There's a bunch of really cool things that happen on our Patreon that just kind of get us like, it kind of shows this connection between audience and musician, and we kind of are on this equal platform where we get to express creative ideas and hang out. So it's really cool.
Absolutely, yeah. And there's trivia night. I saw that.
Trivia night. We just did trivia night the other day. It was so much fun. I got to dress up in a blazer and ask everybody questions, and you get actual prizes. Like I'm hand knitting a scarf right now for a second place winner. So it's
That's
fun.
Cool. That's very cool. So yes, people, if you're interested in that support of an artist, I think the Patreon kind of like connection to people is a very cool thing. So I always want to make sure we take a moment to talk about that. And in each one of these years, you're playing Music Fest. I just wanted to spend this moment there. Like you've pretty much done it almost every year. Even the virtual year, you had one of the coolest sets because you were set up in the woods. And there was a really, I mean, it was just very well done. The audio is great. That's a different one.
I'm just bringing in photos now because we saw some stuff that
I was such a cool thing at the close. Isn't that cool? Like you guys made an A. It was a lot of fun. And we're going to show that in a second, but the that's still out there, Virtual Music Fest. So if anybody wants to check out that set, I think you guys played like 6 songs. Yeah. And in fact, I went back and listened to it. You played Vessel. Yeah. And it didn't even strike me at the moment that we listened to it that it was like an unreleased song. So like very cool that I went back there and it was like a little nugget that I didn't see. And again, what I find fascinating about that is there's this one moment where you finish a song, and this must be one of the hardest things as a performer during the pandemic is you're playing these moments and there's no applause at the end and you're expecting it. And Katie, there's this one moment where you're like, it's not there. It's almost like an actor who delivered something and didn't get the applause. It was like this really amazing thing where it's just like, gosh, you just wish you could hear what other people are doing.
We used to joke about playing the final countdown in between songs, and one of our friends, or a patron, actually gave us a little box that if you flip the switch, it plays the final countdown. So that was really sweet. Gotta use that.
That's
now.
Awesome. But so the wrap up here is, Vessel is released again. We have that to give away tonight as well. Hashtag the Accidentals.
Yeah, let's do. So some housekeeping. If you would like to win this.
Or this.
We'll try to do some StreamYard stuff with it at some point tonight before this is over.
Yeah.
We're going to hear at least one more song, and we're not all set up, but I know Gangstagrass, there's some of them are in the waiting room. We're definitely going to chat a little bit after the song. So
we're going to bring you all on at the same time because there's this awesome moment where you guys all played together a couple years back, but we wanted to definitely let you play one more song. It was released Friday, so this is like cutting edge, brand new music from the Accidentals, released Friday. A song called Eastern Standard Time, and it's off of the Time Out 2 EP that is getting released.
Can we bootleg this? Like this is.
You don't ask them live.
This is the debut performance of the acoustic performance right here, right now.
Yeah, this is a song that we wrote with Peter Mulvey. He's a great songwriter. Works with Ani DeFranco and Sista Strings, and just is an incredible, prolific writer. So he's from Wisconsin. We're from Michigan, and naturally we decided to write about the strip of land that connects us. When we were talking about earlier, the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. And so here's a little song about that. It's called Eastern Standard Time. The deepest dark water and the rockiest shore, the tall white pine and the iron ore, windfall apples of the cold of rime, Eastern Standard Time. Ironwood to Sault Ste. Marie, the Great Gitchigami and Superior Sea, the Copper Summit and the Dead River Climb, Eastern Standard Time. Far below the reach of the cold daylight, shipwrecks hold their secrets tight, and somewhere down there is that old pipeline, Eastern Standard Time. Ooh. light of the stars and the falling snow. We shiver in the still of the sweet dark cold. 3 fires burn from the old bloodlines, and beneath the water as dark as wine, past is sleeping still shines. Eastern Standard Time.
Awesome.
There we go.
Thank you.
That is
Peter
such
taught
a
me that
beautiful
song probably
song.
3 days ago.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So when did you write that? How long ago from today is new? So
Yeah, I think almost a little over a year ago, over Zoom. Peter reached out. Actually, Peter's got a really thriving Patreon, and he has this thing where he has like a weekly songwriting prompt for his patrons to write songs together, basically. And this prompt was write a song with a friend. And so he sent an email, and we'd been wanting to write with this guy like forever. We saw him like when we were 18, and we were like, we gotta write a song with that guy. And then 26 is when we finally got together and wrote a song. But it's so funny, for the first 45 minutes we were definitely just talking about like trees and fungi and how they communicate via fungi, and like just totally nerding out on nature first, and then we wrote a song. So he's a cool guy.
Yeah, I've always thought you guys, because I know you guys talk about Earth and that kind of stuff at your shows. I always wanted to be at like a Earth Day show that you guys headline, because I think
that's so cool.
that would be like perfect. Yeah, we got to make that happen. Let's do it here in Bethlehem.
All right, yeah.
But a couple of things before we bring on Gangstagrass for the overlap. A couple of things I want to help you promote, and then let you guys promote whatever you'd like. You guys have the Patreon. You have a podcast called Bucket Seat Chronicles
on our Patreon, yeah.
On the Patreon, and then you did form a nonprofit called Play It Forward Again and Again, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it ties back in with kind of what we mentioned earlier with how we got inspired by the Moxie Strings and coming to do a workshop at our class when we were students. So. We're developing it and doing some really cool stuff here in Nashville that we're excited to share shortly. But
yeah, it's still a work in progress. But basically, the goal is to get instruments into the hands of kids that might not be able to afford it otherwise, and to follow up with lessons from local musicians. So that's the idea.
So great. So yeah, we'll include links to all of these things in the show notes, and the people can learn more about it if they want. What else would you like to promote, so that we make sure we get that all out there? Obviously, Time Out 2 EP, the tour. What else?
Well, we're also going on tour with Kim Ritchie, starting in 2 weeks from now, exactly 2 weeks from now, we'll be in the Pacific Northwest, backing her up and as an opening act. So we're really excited about that. And then that's followed shortly by the Time Out Tour, which is a Songwriters in the Round with us, Kim Ritchie, Beth Nielsen Chapman, and Maya Sharp. And if you don't, you gotta go. It's a super group. It's so good.
We should bring that to Godfrey Daniels. I don't know if you've heard about that, but that's listening room here in Bethlehem that's just like either Cafe Lena or Bluebird Cafe. Like it's just like that.
Let's do it.
So we definitely have to mention that to them, because I think it would really fit well there.
Let's make it happen.
It would be exquisite to have them there. I would love it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you can check out those dates are all on our website. It's under tour. Go to theaccidentalsmusic.com, and those buttons right there, RSVP your tickets. They can get you where you need to go. So
excellent.
My sister lives in Portland. I'm gonna send her over to Polaris.
Send her out.
Yes.
She needs to get out too.
It's going to be an amazing show. We've been rehearsing with Kim this week, and we're really excited.
And Beth Nielsen Chapman is awesome too.
Oh, she's so great. We have a song with her on this next record, actually. So
love it.
Are you guys ready to do something a little different? We have some members of Gangstagrass. One of them has another camera on, so we're going to leave it. But no, he's back. Okay, so I'm bringing them all in. You guys should know each other.
Yeah.
So here we go. Never done this before. Here we go.
Yo,
This is awesome.
Man,
Aw,
back together again.
This is great.
Yeah.
I think the last
What's
time, what year was it when we were all? It had to be before the world exploded. Like
Yes.
2018 maybe?
2018,
In Galva,
Yeah.
Illinois.
Yeah, Galva.
Yeah, it
that's
was
right.
Illinois.
At the
I
Levitt
had linked
Pavilion.
to it.
Levitt Pavilion, that's it.
Yeah.
That's totally it. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was wearing a space hat from the venue Space in
Yes.
Evanston. And someone else in the group, someone else in the group was also wearing a space hat. And I remember we were just like,
Yep.
It was extremely hot. I remember sweating so hard.
It was
Yeah,
hot.
it was
It was an
gross.
open field. Yeah.
it was a gross day to be alive, yeah. But
Yeah.
it was cool. We had a blast.
How did you guys like performing? Did you perform with each other?
Dude, I wish.
No, we should
Yeah,
have.
me
I was saying you guys should have a song together. I put that out there in the
Yeah.
universe, and I'm hoping it comes true.
There's definitely going to be some jamming someday.
Oh yeah, I mean we've been on the same. I feel like we pass all these musicians and bands. We pass each other on all these crossroads of music festivals and gigs across the country. And I feel like for a while we were following you guys around. So we saw your name on posters as we were getting to venues. That's always fun. So
Right. My favorite part of that, though, honestly, the show was great, but we ended up in the same hotel the next morning, if I remember correctly. We were having
That's right.
breakfast. We were having continental yogurt and stuff, and just
Dry oatmeal.
shooting and dry oatmeal, and we're
Soggy
shooting the
honeydew.
breeze. Like the conversations that we were having at that point would just be unimaginable now. Like we were just talking about how I had this show and this tour, and we were just over there, and we'll say hi to them, and we haven't been doing that stuff for 2 years now.
we're ready to get back to it.
Right.
We'll have the collab is gonna happen. It's it'll be
Oh,
super
yeah.
group territory. We have to come up with a name though.
That's right.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
I suggest Gangstadental.
There we go. There we go. Nailed it.
Better than Gangstagrass, I guess.
Gangstagrass, yeah, was not going to be as good. Yeah. But this is so cool. Thank you so much all for having this moment, and especially a big thank you to Sav and Katie from the Accidentals. Great time
Thanks.
spending with you guys, and hope to see you play around here again soon. Like I said, we got to make the Earth Day special happen here.
Definitely got to make that
That's
happen.
right. Yeah, all our
We could
songs
pull
talk
some
about
string.
stars.
I know a couple people. We could.
That's true. That is
Sure, we
true.
could do. No, thank you guys so much. Like honestly, that was fantastic. My daughter heard that playing downstairs. She's like, "What is that?" I'm serious. So fantastic. Thank you guys so
Yes.
much.
Yes, thank you
Thanks,
very,
y'all.
very
Good
much.
to see you guys.
Good to see
Good to
you.
Yeah.
I
It's
didn't want to see them go. That was.
I know.
Man.
Yeah, I wanted more of the cello.
And yes, definitely. And the obligatory wave at the end of the Zoom call. You never do that in a real meeting. You just do it in these.
So wait, we got to hype it back up.
That's right.
yeah.
We got to.
Grass is here.
Yeah.
We may
It's
have.
grass in the house.
Wait, I think
What's
we have
up?
another.
What's up?
Here he is. Ready? Here
What's
he is.
happening?
Oh, we have more.
Yay.
Oh, it's hype time.
Yes.
It is time for
Okay.
hype.
Yeah, what's the deal? What's the deal?
So
Yeah, you're at a basketball
deal,
game. Is
man?
that where you are? For your kid? Is that what's
Yeah,
going on?
man, my
our son?
son got a flag football game, the last game of the season.
Flag football guy.
So it's
are they winning right now? Is it?
it's not looking good right now. We out here, you know what I mean?
Just some highlights.
Uh-oh. Yeah, we out here, man. Y'all was making fun of me for my space hat. That's not cool. I guess I'll give it to that for now.
No, it was love. It was love.
Yeah.
It is.
I don't even
It
know
was,
if you guys
it
can
was
hear me.
genuine.
Phil, let me do the intro quick, and then I'll let you take it.
I think
For
it's
those
frozen.
who are not familiar, Gangstagrass has toured internationally, blowing minds on stages from South by Southwest to Grey Fox Bluegrass Festival, with a live act taking full advantage of improvise. I can't say it.
We make stuff up.
Improvisatory?
That's
a
right.
long word. It's a long word.
Improvisational.
Improvisatory?
Improvisation.
I don't know what he's going for. I'm
Improvisational.
going to let him go.
Improvisational.
The improvisational aspects of both hip hop and bluegrass. Thank you guys.
That's a long one. It's got 6 cylinders.
I saw the word in my brain. improvisational. I'm glad that you guys allowed me to be a little improvisational on that one.
Yeah.
That was good. That was good.
I'm gonna bring our son back in. So honestly, thank you guys so much. Thank you for coming from all different areas to join us today.
Yeah, I wish we could be sitting next to each other so we could play some music like the Accidentals could.
Yeah.
But, you're gonna have to come see us at the show, see what it's like for banjo player, fiddle player, and some hip hop MCs to be collaborating. It's like nothing you've seen before.
100%.
You know what? On that note, Phil, let me redeem myself because I can't say that word. So, but we do have a giveaway for the show on February 17th at Brooklyn Bowl in Philadelphia. I'm going to be dropping that link in the comments, so look for that. And
Yeah, it's a Thursday night. It's a great night to go out and see a show. The venue is awesome. So and I'll be down there with I got a bunch of different people going, so you can join us for the party. And I saw you guys play at Music Fest in 2015, I believe it was. Nice. And it was one of those, just like the Accidentals, but these Music Fest moments happen where you're walking around and there's a tent and there's something going on, and you go in and you just simply join the fun. And your sound is absolutely infectious, and it has been since the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Music Fest is one of our favorite experiences. We've played it. I don't know how many times we've played Music Fest at this point, but it's a blast.
It is. It's a special couple of days, and I think you're the type of sound that's like, the perfect thing to happen, because it's stuff that you wouldn't expect, and it just takes you for a ride, and it's just absolutely incredible. Love every minute of it.
I want to thank Music Fest. I think maybe the last time we were there, we were playing on the same stage as Buckwheat Zydeco, so we got to see a Buckwheat Zydeco set before he passed, and we were backstage for that. That was amazing.
That's incredible. Again, that would have been a sweet collaboration.
We played, and then they played, and then the power went out. Like they killed it. They absolutely killed it. They shut it down.
Blew a transformer.
Yeah.
It was, if you've never seen that kind of accordion playing, oh my god, it was. They could have powered the stage off of that Zydeco rhythm.
Oh,
you guys, you must feed off energy from the crowd. Like, just your music just feels like that. Like, it makes people move. You guys are feeling up. So for you to get in front of people is super important. How has it been for you the last couple of years? I know difficult, but how have you been able to continue to create and look toward the future?
We did a lot of planning. We did a lot of Zoom stuff. And then once we all got vaccinated, we kind of coordinated through a system of testing and making sure we were all safe to get into the studio.
Sure.
And for practices and stuff. But the big thing was not being able to do shows. And so we had to find other ways to connect with our audience online.
Yeah. And when we got the live shows going again, we really wanted to dip a toe in gradually just to take it easy, because we weren't sure how it was going to go. So we decided to go on America's Got Talent, as our easy first step.
Yeah. That was really our first time in front of an audience since lockdown started.
Right,
That's
a year and a
awesome.
half.
It's the best way, I think. You rip the Band-Aid right off.
Yeah, you jump right in the deep end.
Right.
And the audience reaction to when the song you play on that very first one is so cool, because it was obviously geniusly selected in that it starts out as more bluegrassy, and then the beat hits, and everyone's like, "Oh." and I think that's the best part of the music.
I can't play any of the audio because
I was just going to say we hesitate to do it because YouTube will shut us down.
It'll shut us down immediately. But we can show some of this because it's on. Listen, man, how was this experience? This is insane.
It was cool.
Yeah, super fun. It was great to be playing together again, because we hadn't in a while, and it's a fun experience to be on the show, to be around a bunch of other talented acts, and everybody's pretty it's all supportive and positive, which was something that we definitely talked about going into the show, and making sure that we were going on into a place that wasn't about really ragging on each other or putting people down, and turned out to be true. Everybody was cheering each other on. Terry Crews was amazing to meet. Loved him.
That was awesome. It was great. It was honestly, it was as good as it looks.
That's so cool. And here's if I don't know if you want to let it keep going because you get that even Terry Cruz's reaction to when the beat hits is pretty hilarious.
Yeah. The hardest part was keeping what we do secret from like any of the people on the host. Like none of them knew what was going to happen.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
Like all the producers knew, but they were like, don't tell them anything.
In the interviews, we had to be like, we are Gangstagrass and we are a band.
We play music.
Yeah.
And even if you explained it, it's not like they would really understand it.
No, certainly.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem is that if you try to describe what we do, it doesn't sound like what we do. No. So we just opted not to describe it at all, so that they could just see it in its full glory. You know,
for sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
Hey, Phil, I feel like we didn't play any music.
That's true. Do we have something we can play that it won't be a problem?
I can get away with like 30 seconds, I think.
And then I wanted to also like quickly go around and either introduce everybody too. We should make sure everybody knows.
All right, sit tight with me. I think I can get away with like 30 seconds of this.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4. Here we go. Meet me down by the river. All for one. Meet me down by the corner. It's all for one tonight.
Everybody get down on the floor. Let me get up on the mic and lay it down with the flow, with the sound of the dough. Hell-I circular. Open up your ears for the sound I'm serving up. All kinds of strange, but doing the thing. And don't think for a minute that the Sleuth don't sing, cause I spit it in a cipher. Do it like a lyrical MacGyver, you never find another above a lava. I'm on the one, two, spitting the rhyme so sublime, don't glide through the wrinkles of time. I'm inclined to align to a higher design.
All right, I hate cutting it short.
Yeah.
That makes me want to be
it up.
like, I want it to be like 86 degrees and like 10 p.m. at night. I don't know. Like that's what I
swear again at Music Fest. That was absolutely dope.
Yeah.
So why don't we start there? Dropping the lyrics there was Dolio the Sleuth. Dolio, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dolio the Sleuth. I've been living in Philly for the past 16 years. I'm originally from Pensacola, Florida. Been down rocking with some of these cats for like a good couple of decades, really.
And we didn't get to our son's lyrics, but our son, the other lyrics.
It's a little loud up in here. Like I said, man, I'm at my son's last flag football game of the season. It's your man, our son, the voice of reason, holding down in Philly. My son is he's getting his flag football on, so I'm trying to check him out. I'm one of the MCs, and I carry my own stuff.
Also Philly based.
Yeah, man, Philly in all things at all times. Except for right now, my son's team is the LA Rams, and that's okay. I'm all right with that.
Yeah, they're in the championship. So
cool.
That's exactly right. Dan Whitener, Danjo, affectionately known, and not getting much sleep these days, I believe. Correct?
No, sir. No, I am not. Nope. I recently became a father, September of 2020. And that has been a wild ride on top of the wild ride.
What a great time to have a kid.
You know what? Honestly, I wasn't doing anything else. You know, like all my shows were canceled, and I mean,
but now's a great time.
It is.
Yep.
It is. Yeah. No, it's been wonderful. It's been really, really nice.
Absolutely. And then I keep hearing it referenced this way: the mastermind, Rench.
Yeah, that's me. I carry my own stuff too.
But again, we're already into it, but welcome and thank you so much for spending time with us tonight. And thank you to Sleeves, manager of the band, and for arranging all of this. It's been great to work together on all this.
Thanks for having us. This is a very cool show, and the Accidentals we get to see again.
You lucked out. I have to give props to Phil. If I can take a moment, he's the mastermind of putting all these music episodes together. We do a lot of fun podcasting, but we would not be able to do it without Phil's help and work. So thank you, Phil.
I'm gonna cut that one off and put it on my my LinkedIn account on repeat. But Rench, if you don't mind, maybe take us back to the beginning of where you get this idea. From what I heard, it was recordings of Ralph Stanley and the Clinch Mountain Boys. Is that correct?
That was definitely what I was listening to the early 2000s when I had the idea. I was already making like different kinds of country and hip hop combinations, but when I was listening to the Clinch Mountain Boys stuff, I was thinking, yeah, let's try bluegrass with some rappers. And the first thing I thought was, well, it would be called Gangstagrass. And so then I just had to try it out, and I started out, but just by sampling a bunch of Ralph Stanley, Bill Monroe, early blues stuff.
Sure.
And then putting hip hop acapellas over it from people that I'd worked with. But that just took off. People liked it so much. I said, I gotta get a band together to do this.
And in that beginning phases, you were just putting out free downloads out there, and it just took off.
Yeah, the first Gangstagrass album was just a free download. Just say, hey, check it out. What do you think?
Yeah, and then if I again correct me if I'm wrong on the chronology here, but then FX Network reaches out and says we want a song for the show Justified.
Yeah, I got a call out of the blue because they'd heard that.
That's gonna be an awesome phone call.
Yeah, I said we're looking for the guy that did Gangstagrass, and I said that's me, and they had me do something to be the theme song on this new show. And luckily for me, it was a fun show. I liked it.
It's a great show. It's a great show, and it's perfect opening lyrics and music for it, and it just got another season, didn't it?
Yeah, they're doing a new like a mini series.
Got it.
Of it. Yeah.
So there should be a new Gangstagrass song to lay down underneath it.
There should.
So how do you guys find each other? Is it like a Craigslist ad? Like, well, I'm just saying, like, it's crazy.
Yes. No one ever guesses that. They found me on Craigslist.
Is it how
that is in fact how we found Danjo.
Are you kidding? It's really Craigslist?
George nailed it.
No joke. No joke.
Yeah, it was in the couples seeking.
You won the tickets, George. What do we?
But that's wild because it is like I'm thinking of a place where you would all meet. You know what I mean? Like,
I met.
It's so wild.
Yeah, I met Rench accidentally. The accidentals. Well, I met him accidentally when I first moved to New York. Like maybe like the week after I moved there, I went to see a show, and he was in the audience of that show, and I was in the audience of that show. But somebody recognized me in the audience as a DJ and asked if I would scratch over the band that was on the stage. After much haggling and they convinced me to do it. So I got up on the turntables, and then after the show, Rench approached me like, I have a proposition, that type of thing.
And is that the Rappalachia album was coming out at that time?
No, this is way before that. We were starting
okay.
a honky tonk hip hop band called B Star that we did before Gangstagrass.
Oh, I
got going way back.
Yeah, and he was looking for a new turntablist, and I became that, and then eventually he discovered that I also rapped.
Right.
And then later on,
like, I'll give this guy some verses. Yeah.
Yeah. So then when Gangstagrass came around, I featured that more.
Yeah,
and I ran into our son at a cipher in front of a nightclub at Penn State. Also, one of those situations where I had just moved to town. Then I had just moved to State College, Pennsylvania. I didn't know anybody,
right?
So I went out for a beer, and I found a bunch of dudes standing on the sidewalk rapping. And I've been cool with them ever since.
But that even blows my mind that they would still, have connections to Philadelphia, where you guys could continue to work together and create. Because that's the hard part, right? Is the creation of the album and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So could you kind of walk through maybe your roles, like who handles what? Does Rench start it out with something, or do you guys come to the table with different things when you're starting a song?
Well, I capture the flying sharks and implant their laser eye beams to help us out with stuff.
Yeah, every track starts a different way, really, because we all contribute to the writing and the creation of it. So sometimes one of us might come with a verse, somebody might come with a lick, Rench might come with a drum beat or something that he put together, and they all sometimes we just sit around the campfire or whatever, just jamming out, until something hits. And then later on, we just keep working on it, or we might just have a concept that we want to write about.
Sure.
And we just all put pen to pad and do what we're gonna do. And then after a while, we it starts out rough, and then we just continue to polish it until it's ready to show.
Yeah. And concept often, and I really admire this. There's a lot of desire to try and tear down any of those stigmas around whether it's skin color or who should listen to what kind of music. And I think that's a beautiful part about all this. I know that's a big part of what you guys try and bring.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. The funny thing about
mic
that,
dropping at the moment. Sorry.
The funny thing about that, though, I think, is that it wasn't. I would say it wasn't really started with that intention in mind, right?
Sure.
Like it's something that's really developed as we've done it. I think just out of what started out of just like an interesting musical concept, like that would be fun and interesting sounding, and then let's bring the people together to do that. But in that process, I think we've really like learned a lot, and we've really seen, sort of become part of this push to bring down the barriers, just because of what we do. It's like the only way we can do it.
I think there's something, if you don't live in a world that has those barriers, you get shocked by someone else who puts them up. I think that might be what's happening, is you guys were just making good music and you didn't realize it was going to run into this opposition. And I think that's probably why it evolved into that, because it's like, well, why would you think that way or whatever? And it's just a shocker for somebody when you're not wired that way. And it's something that we have to keep pushing against, because it's not helping us.
Yeah, I've also learned a lot myself in the past 10 years of doing it. Discovering some of the history of those divisions that I didn't even know when I started out. I was just thought it would be cool to combine these two things.
Sure.
And in the process, started learning about the music history of the labels. Initially categorizing Southern music into race music and hillbilly music, and putting up all of these sort of artificial genres to it. And that was something that I've been discovering along the way. So I've had my mind blown just by looking into the roots of what we're doing.
For sure. And go ahead, Dolio.
And a lot of it kind of became more obvious to us once we started doing stuff overseas, because those barriers don't exist over there.
Agreed. Right.
They just see a bunch of Americans.
Right.
What was their reaction to you? Was your reaction different? And just that they had no preconceived notion, I guess. Like they were just,
they just immediately took to it. It was just like, whatever this is, we love it.
Occasionally, you'd have Europeans would come up to us and be like, "This is nice. Is all American music like this?" And we'd have to be like,
no.
No.
And there's even, like, if you really want to get into the history, the banjo started in Africa and was brought to the United States from the slaves, and so like it actually should go together. And I think our son talked about this in one of the interviews I read, where both of those genres are very much in a freestyling, like you're playing in the moment. And so whether that is rap or whether that is bluegrass, it's supposed to be this very, you're giving nonverbal communication to your band members and so on and so forth. And it absolutely goes together. It absolutely should be this way.
Yeah. And you look at the people creating the music and the stories and the subject matter and the as you say, like the way that the music is made and created, it's all very democratic and sort of there's a common denominator of it's accessible. And it just gets back to like the things that make it seem like it's different or separate. Those things are really the artificial things. And we're not trying to say like, wow, these things actually go together. We're really end up saying like, of course they go together.
Right.
Like you were saying, George, like it is a little bit out there. What's nice, we see these conversations start to happen more and more in the mainstream now, but it'll be a little confusing to us because we'll look around and go like, oh, you guys found out about this. Okay. Yeah, no, we've known about that. We've been doing this for a decade.
Come on board. Yes,
it's great. It's great, but it's a little bit like, all right, welcome to the party.
Yeah, and we've done a lot of legwork in establishing a domain that lets people know that this is indeed folk music.
Sure.
Yeah.
Hip hop is folk music.
Hip hop is folk music.
Yep.
So when you take, different types of folk music and combine them, it just works.
And do you guys find? I mean, I know there's Spotify's been in the news, but just in terms of sharing your music through the internet, that has to allow you to reach more people than you probably ever would have been able to, especially with the genre. You're able to reach people everywhere. Like you just said, going to Europe and having that sort of response. So has that helped you out in terms of being able to maybe get larger faster or get an audience quicker?
Yes and no. I mean, having an electronic means to which to deliver your music it helps in getting it into the hands of the people if they know where to find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
However, like the distribution networks, the various, the Spotify's and the Pandoras and all of them, they still want to silo your stuff into a genre, and if you don't have a genre, they don't quite know where to put you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like we were replacing genre playlists with just the algorithm, but like the algorithm is not any more, unbiased or helpful because it's just based on perpetuating whatever system was in place when the algorithm was programmed by the humans that programmed it. So it's not really a great solution. We're still working on things, and I'm really glad that the Accidentals were on earlier talking about the Fam Grove, because that's one of the things that we do is, especially in the last few years, as we've built up a bunch of infrastructure. Like, on our website, we've got we do these kind of live stream things, weekly, where we try to reach out to people and just have a presence. And then we've also created it, not exactly Patreon, but it's a very similar thing. Our own program, which we call Barnstormers. And that's, very much like Patreon. It's a way for people to connect with us. So we're just constantly trying to figure out new innovative ways to take our new innovative music, and get it to people.
Definitely. Yeah, we were definitely, I wanted you guys to spend some time on the Barnstormers, because again, it's something where that should be a way that, a fan, a person who that music speaks to, is able to connect with that band and support them in a way that goes directly to them. So again, this is just yet another way to almost, it's probably too simplified to call it a subscription to the band, but that might be the simplest way to describe it.
That's not bad.
I liken it to like the band boosters that we had in high school.
Sure.
But we have a lot going on all the time in terms of things that are going on behind the scenes or stuff that we're working on that's not out yet. So we have a lot to share for people that are supporting us, and so this is a really cool club. I like the fact that we have an outlet to share with the real hardcore fans can join up. For as you can see there, $4 a month for the basic level to get some of this behind the scenes stuff. Right now they've got access to that original free download Gangstagrass album that's no longer available. They've got access to a hip hop covers mixtape that we did last year that has not all been released yet. So there's exclusive stuff there, and behind the scenes looks at our recent studio sessions, all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's different tiers too. You don't have to pay a whole lot of money to have access to a lot of this stuff, but obviously, you pay more, you get more. And like you mentioned Spotify before, and even Patreon, like these things, the advantage of having your own program that you created on your own website, just like having your own mailing list, like you're not really beholden to some system, and they don't take overhead. So when people are asking, the important question about like Spotify, for instance, is, well, how do we support musicians? And I think that's really at the heart of a lot of it. And it's this sort of thing. We just want people to be able to, if they want to support us, to have as much of that go to us as can.
Yeah. And I think you can think about it too in a way, like, let's be honest, how many subscription things do we have right now that we don't need? And what's $4 a month, a cup of coffee? I mean, that's half a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
Right. And like you said, it gives you access. It gives you, you're going to get access to
more
stuff
than anything,
that
it's supported.
is exclusive.
Directly, you're saying, I'm making a direct commitment to something I care about.
Yeah, and we drink a lot of coffee. Our son drinks a lot of coffee. You were going to say something, our son?
I like the fact that you called what Spotify takes overhead. That's a good way to put it. I like how you put that. Overhead, right?
Yeah, and it is good to see them take a little bit of crap right now.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying that.
Oh yeah, no question. Shout out to Neil Young and Joni Mitchell. Like,
That's
they're
exactly
like,
right.
You know what? Maybe we're not gonna do this. And I'm hoping, quite honestly, my hope is that a couple of hip hop cats sort of take that same route and are willing to go that same route. Like, the money you're not getting from Spotify anymore isn't a whole lot. You're probably doing okay without that,
Sure.
tenth of a cent per stream. I mean, I understand your streams are huge, but I think you've done okay with it at this point. And cats are still gonna get your music somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So why not? Like, stand up for the cause a little bit.
Yep. And I think other ways to support the artist is to buy the merch straight off the website, right? Like either vinyl or T-shirts, and again, show up to the concerts so that more venues book you and so on and so forth. So those are some other ways to make sure that they're supporting what you guys are doing.
Get those tickets for Brooklyn Bowl Philly.
There you go.
And if you show up to the show, you will meet and get acquainted with our wonderful manager Sleeves. Because she will sell you the merch. You may think that you are not going to buy merch. I don't know why you think that.
Right. Sleeves is going to sell it to you one way or another.
Yeah.
Any new merch or anything else, Sleeves, you want to promote there?
Yeah, we got some amazing, we have this whole new album that came out in 2020 that we're just now touring on.
Still new.
That hit #1 on the Billboard Bluegrass chart.
No Time for Enemies right there.
Yeah, No Time for Enemies. We have No Time for Enemies hoodies. We have the vinyl, which is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
I just got Phil into vinyl.
Yep.
And
I
there's
buy
plenty
vinyl
really good signatures.
I buy vinyl of who I interview, and so I bought the one that's Rappalachia on the one side and then the Rench music on the other side.
Yeah.
I thought that was super
Gangstagrass
dope.
versus Rench.
Yeah.
That is a great one.
Yeah,
I thought that was so
check
cool.
out these hats. These hats are sweet.
These?
You gotta get these hats.
The
Yeah.
trucker
Hats are
hats have been
spectacular.
the trucker hats have been flying.
They're
Definitely.
We actually have a
We're
lot of
gonna sell out of
vinyl. I want
those
to
for
point out
sure.
we have a bunch of different vinyl. We really get into that. We're proud of our albums, and we press as many as we can.
And Daniel, that's the only thing, and I don't want to defend Spotify. I'm not wanting to at all, but the algorithm itself has introduced me to very small bands who I have then purchased vinyl from them, because I'm able to go through their Spotify link and do that. I don't know if everybody's doing that, of course, but it is a nice way for me to be able to at least find some of those tangentially related acts.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And there are a lot of people find us that way too. And what's really nice is on like YouTube in particular, for instance, we have a video with like 8 million views. And at a certain tipping point, you start to see a lot of the comments, people talking about rabbit holes, people talking about like, wow, what's this band? I was listening to Billy Strings a minute ago. I was listening to Dead South a minute ago, and now I'm here. But this is great, so it's always great when things recommend you to expand your tastes and find new things that you're going to like. And that's wonderful. And we do see the effect of that. Obviously, it's a numbers game in terms of like if 1% of those people actually buy something, hopefully that's still pretty good.
Yeah, I saw you hovering over the rolling papers there.
Organic.
Yeah, actually, those
paper.
That's right.
How
Actually,
fun
funny.
That's a great way to market. Let's be honest. Like it's fun that you're able to do that, and I hope you're making money from it because it's fun that you're able to do that.
It's fun because we talked about doing that particular piece of merch a long time before we actually did it. So we were like put a lot of thought into it. So that's why it's organic, unbleached rice paper and all that stuff. But like but no lie, almost everyone I've met that started that got one of those, like that's all they use now. They were like, I can't use anything else yet because this is better.
What a crazy! This is great. Is this a USB?
Medicinal Gangstagrass.
I need to up my merch.
And you can see there we've got a cassette. You can buy a cassette tape.
What's crazy is people are now buying cassettes. Like we just bought a vinyl / cassette player.
Yeah, and that's a real mixtape.
It is a mix tape. We don't just call it that. You know what we should do, Sleeves? We should take a picture of our full merch table, and then like put it up and embed little hyperlinks so you can click on each of the items, because our merch table, you have to just imagine our merch table.
You
Like,
like
come to our show, get a ticket and come to the show, and yes, the show is great, we're very good at music, blah blah blah, but check out the merch
But the
table
merch
itself.
table is a work of art.
It's triumphant, really.
That's really a great idea, Danjo. And I will say, one of Dan's little known strengths is that he is actually amazing at organizing a merch table. So, you know, if you see a particularly beautiful display, there is a decent chance that Danjo was behind it.
That's
and
awesome.
we'll have to, if we do that, we'll have to make sure that we put a tipping option on there too. Because one of the things that's floored me is how, you know, the fans will come up and, you know, on Square, there's that little option, would you like to tip? And, you know, I always say, would you like to tip the band? And people are so excited to do that. They want to tip the band, and they'll, you know, I mean, the options are right. 10%, 15%, 18%, something like that. Right. But what they want to tip, they'll say, you know, can I tip $50? Can I tip $100?
Right.
I actually had a guy come back after he had just tipped the band $80 and say, I'm so sorry. Can I tip you more? It's just, it's amazing, you know, how moved people are by the show.
Has anyone ever said no to that?
Yeah, Sleeves is like, no.
Has anyone on earth ever said, no, you can't tip me more?
Is not
right. No, thank you.
Yeah.
No. Keep your money.
Sure.
Yeah, and
Well,
people very rarely don't want to tip the band because they've had such a great time with the show.
Of course,
they do.
Yeah, we had.
And honestly, the ticket price is affordable. So go and buy, if you're going and, you know, 2 people are going, buy 4 tickets. Like, just do spend what you think it's worth. Don't spend what it comes up to. That's what I always try and do.
Yeah, we're just gonna buy pants with them.
Yeah.
How do you feel? Like, how do you guys feel? It's going to be when you're back out at full strength. And full strength, I guess I mean, as much as it could have been before 2020 hit. Do you feel like people are more thirsty than ever for these? Because I am, just to go to a show and to be a part of something. I just feel like I'm searching it out. So
People are just happy to be out of the house, man.
I think
Including us.
The top of my head is just gonna be on fire.
Yeah.
And we should mention, Sleeves and I were talking about this earlier. This is a show that is, you have to be vaccinated to be in, and you have to be wearing a mask unless you're eating or drinking. So if anybody has concerns about, you know, the safety of it, this is as safe as you can make it in an indoor venue. So kudos to Brooklyn Bowl for taking those steps, and for the city of Philadelphia, whatever. So just wanted to mention that the Philly show is fully vaxxed and masked show, so people can feel at least that whatever safety we can get from that.
Thank you for pointing that out, Philip. I've been super impressed in working with the venue, Brooklyn Bowl Philly in particular. A lot of the venues are really serious about this, and we appreciate it. Brooklyn Bowl Philly has been the most serious of all. They are, you know, they're like, okay, you know, send us your vaccination cards, and, you know, here's the policy. Make sure that you're agreeing to it. We are not kidding. And we just, as performers, as people with families and young children and elders and people who care about our fans a lot, that is so important. We so appreciate that they're doing that they're going.
Yeah, I was super pumped about that as well.
Yeah,
I'm going down to see Joel Embiid tomorrow night at the Sixers game.
Oh yeah!
Right? He rested Monday night, so he's playing tomorrow.
He rested Monday night, and we still beat the Grizzlies. Come on!
I know. Tyrese Maxey is like who? Ben Simmons who? But my point, it's all bad. You gotta wear a mask in there, and I'm so pumped.
I knew our son was going to jump in on the Sixers because he's a big Philly sports fan across the board. Our son, would you mind also talking? I heard you on, like, when you were promoting the tour. The tour starts in 2 days, right? It's on the 3rd. And then you mentioned the Philly show in particular. Not that you're going to give any spoilers, but I heard there's something special that night that people should maybe want to make sure they're down there for.
I'm so excited about this. When they asked us about if we had any ideas for an opener, the only person that popped into my mind was a cat named Reef the Lost Cause. Reef he's a Philly dude that I've been doing work with, that I've done work with for almost 20 years now. And I came back from Penn State and I met him, and this guy blew my mind. Like, from the first second of his sound check, my mind was blown. I was like, all right, this dude is something else. And over the last 20 years, man, this guy has just done nothing but put out amazing, amazing hip hop records. He's extraordinarily talented and one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. Unless you have the misfortune to have to battle him. And I've seen it happen. I've seen him destroy cats. I've seen him end careers, and it is marvelous and terrible at the same time. And he puts on such a great show. His energy is fantastic. Him and his DJ Caliph now, the two of them together have been making just amazing, amazing hip hop music. Their shows are lots and lots of fun. And when they asked us if we had any ideas, that was the only thing that popped into my mind, and I'm so glad we were able to make it happen. And the idea of introducing, having done this for the last 10 years, I've been introduced to a lot of really, really dope bluegrass acts and folk acts and all kinds of stuff like that. And the idea to introduce a lot of our bluegrass and Americana and folk fans that's what they're sort of about, to some amazingly quality hip hop, that makes me very, very happy. Awesome. It makes me extraordinarily happy, and it's gonna be a night to remember, man. This guy's gonna. We always tell people that opening up for Gangstagrass is a difficult thing to do. Reef is in that category of people that are difficult to open for, and so we're definitely gonna have to go full tilt to match his energy and just what he brings live to a show. And that's I can't awesome. Wait for it. I cannot wait for it.
It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. That's tremendous. So yeah, you're saying like he's going to set the bar very high, and then obviously you guys
going to set the bar very, very high.
Yeah, Reef is a certified beast. I've seen him open for basically. I've seen him open for legendary hip hop artists,
Sure.
and Reef is in a category of his own. He's a legend in these streets.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As far as battle MC, he's lethal. You know, but as a showman, he's just on top of his game.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time.
I have a question just about a fandom. You know, do you guys find it interesting to maybe catch a country fan listening and they're like, "What is this? I really enjoy it," and then kind of see their progression of getting into what you do? Because you have to pulling people in from genre, right?
You can see them going through all of the 7 stages of Gangstagrassdom. They're like, the first stage is, huh? The second stage is, oh. Third stage is, you know, and it eventually just comes out to where it eventually progresses to them becoming an evangelist.
That's so true. Again, back to like the America's Got Talent video. If you go back and watch that, they make all of those faces Dolio just made.
They do. And then like how he just like stood up right at the end of the song. He was just like so excited. No, it's cool. I mean, you have people like you mentioned, country fans. We have hip hop fans that come out, and then we have the people that come out that are just like, yeah, I don't like country, and I don't like hip hop. But I like what you guys are doing.
That's so funny.
And it happens. It happens more often than you'd think. It's very funny.
Yeah. There was a
At the risk of getting thrown down.
Just want that gif.
There was a year. Yeah, exactly.
I can do that. I can.
There was. Wait to see. Hopefully, they show Terry Crews really getting into it. It's very funny. But of course, Simon.
Smile.
Yeah, right. He
missed my expectations.
There was the back. I think it was 2019. I actually drove all the way to Syracuse, New York, to watch you guys play at Funkin' Waffles.
Funkin' Waffles.
The 2019 show, was that the one where it was like 1,000,000 degrees in there?
No, this was wintertime. I think it was snowing outside.
Oh yeah, that was. It was like
the place.
There was like 3 feet of snow out there.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah,
There was one show where it was super cold outside, and one show where it was super hot inside. It was cold outside that time too.
Yeah.
That's an awesome venue. Those waffles.
It is. Yeah. So Funkin' Waffles is in Syracuse, New York. It's basically you walk in one side and it's like a waffle shop, and it's, you know, you can get sandwiches that are on waffles, chicken and waffles, that kind of stuff. And then you just walk through this like velvet curtain, and it's a kind of Funhouse-esque, setup of cool stage, very small venue kind of thing, and great sound in there. Though I thought it was really, really cool venue.
That's always good to hear.
As you're touring, you're getting. I mean, clearly, I'm going to bring these back up, and everyone can go to gangstagrass.com/events. I mean, you guys are starting now to feel. Do you feel more confident in booking gigs? I know that we've talked to some artists who, they were booking some gigs last year, and 10 of them got canceled and all that. And how do you guys feel? Like, this is great. Like, there's so many fantastic shows coming up. How do you guys feel about your upcoming tour?
I think most of it is we didn't feel confident booking any shows before. This is like the earliest show on here is early February. Sure. And we knew, months ago when we were booking this stuff that it just, looking at the way last winter went, we didn't want to be on the line for anything in December, anything in January. And unfortunately that's bearing out, and you see so many of these cancellations, and we didn't want to have to do that. So we did kind of lay low for a while, but that's basically our, what we're saying to the audience is like, this is as early as we feel comfortable doing it, but we do feel like we can do it. So we're going to give it a shot. And I feel like it's worth mentioning, at least like the Frederick show, maybe the Jersey show. Cause you've got folks that could make it to Frederick. I think pretty easily.
Absolutely.
Maryland, coming up on Thursday, going down to Virginia. So it might be a bit of a hike. We
might have listeners in Virginia. I don't know. We're working on.
Well, we'll be in Chester. We'll be outside Richmond. Richmond's a great area there for us.
Richmond is awesome, and I think too the other reason to mention things is you never know, somebody wants to visit a friend, a brother, or sister, or whatever, and go and like I did with the reason why I went to Syracuse was I have really close friends up there from college. I was like, you got to check out this band, so let's make a weekend out of it.
Yeah,
and we turned good. It was March. I remember we turned Good Friday into Great Friday. There's one show we should certainly specifically mention.
Wait, can we taverns? Just quick though, that our son went from his son's flag football game to driving home on the highway.
Don't pay attention to continuity.
That dude is committed.
In an amazing setup that I look like I'm jealous. Wait, I'm gonna make him. Yeah, look at that.
This is a nightmare, dog.
I know. I just appreciate all of the different spaces you've been for this whole interview.
That's the hustle, man. Like when as a single dad, I'm just running. I'm running all the time. You know what I'm saying? And I got my ace is with me, and he's chilling playing Madden right now. And I'm here, nice. my little segment of the house with all my toys and my records. And it's a constant movement. Like
well, you have a passion for comic books and actually have the shop too, right?
Yeah, I work at a shop down in Kensington and Philly called Amalgam Comics. Shout out to my whole Amalgam team. The owner Ariel Johnson, she's the first Black woman on the East Coast to open her own comic book store, and it's
excellent
fun being there. And we have a good time in there, man. We have such a good time. It's a very open space for any sorts of comic book folks that are, whatever you're into, we can find it for you. We just got that book on there about kung fu movies, like, just all sorts of random stuff. And I've been doing comics retail for 25 years.
Yo, our son, you missed. Is he still here? Yeah, you missed my RoboCop vest. My wife made me tonight.
Nice.
Oh, sweet.
Oh, that is.
I got this on Etsy, the patch, and then my wife sewed it onto my vest.
That is epic. That right there. Now, let me ask you a question. As a RoboCop guy, are you good with the new RoboCop, or are you classic RoboCop?
See, what I am, I'm not like, I don't hate on stuff. Like, I'm very much appreciative that they're continuing to create it. So, while I don't like it as much as the original, I have appreciation for it. I'll tell you what, I went back and watched the 1990s TV series RoboCop.
Oh my gosh.
The cartoon.
No, the television.
Yeah, they did a live action one. It was not.
Yeah. And it was, you know what though? It wasn't good at the time, but now watching it again, I have an appreciation for the people involved.
Nice. All right.
You're a very nice person. I'm getting that impression.
Well, they did what they could with the budget they had. Let's just put it at that.
Is the guy he can never get a good movie except for that first one. I love RoboCop too, but yeah, I mean, just the comic book stuff. I'm a huge fan, so I love it.
Yeah, recently George put on Twitter the RoboCop like action figures where it had like the caps that you would snap on the back of it. It sounded like tried to make it like it was a gun shooting and stuff.
I had the video game on Nintendo.
Oh, there it is.
I got all. This is like just a sample. Like I'm jealous of your setup.
This is my whole existence, right? You can't even see. There's like 15 different Superman statues up there. There's 4 more upstairs in my room. The whole top shelf is all Superman action figures. There's a whole bin full of figures over here, like stuff I bought for my sons, a bunch of stuff I bought for me. One of my favorites though, and this is if you're a Star Wars guy, a couple years back they put out the 6-inch the Black Series figures, the 6-inch Star Wars figures.
Right.
And I bought this one because young Ben Kenobi looks exactly like Dan Whitener. Exactly like
Danjo Kenobi.
Now bring mine up.
Somewhere around here.
Wait, ready?
Yeah.
Can you put him back up?
Yeah. There's Ben Kenobi. There's Dan Kenobi.
Yes.
It's frightening. I saw it. I was like, what the hell? Somewhere around here, you have to forgive my mess. Sleeve got me a like a little tiny banjo. And so he has his own banjo. No. Like I had him on display, just sitting here chilling.
You should have the Gangstagrass action figure set.
I like that.
Oh, yeah.
I want to jump in here and just say that props to my wife here for at one point she got some Funko bobbleheads. This is Thor from Thor Ragnarok. He only has this weapon for like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
In one scene, but it looks kind of like a banjo.
Yeah, it totally does.
So that's the figurine that my wife got me.
It looks very close.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm actually trying to. I would like to reach out to the people at Funko. Reef, my man Reef. There's a Reef for Lost Cause Funko Pop.
Oh my god!
It's amazing.
Really?
Yes, it's so dope. You can get them like customly done, and he did them for his last album release. Like I think they only did about 100 of them.
They disappeared immediately.
They sold in seconds. I was like, oh, those are no, they're not. I can get
Come on.
Find it on eBay for like
I love
10
how
grand.
now like everyone is scouring different. So coming back to whatever we were talking about. No,
shows.
Yeah. Why are we going to have you guys talk about
that, though, is this genre related too? It's like mix it all in. Who cares? It's fun. Like, why does it have to be like, oh, you like Star Trek, you're a nerd? No, it's good stuff. It's all
I
don't know.
Yeah, it's one of the things
we're nerds.
I'm a nerd.
Love it.
One of the things that's made this really easy for me, like, just kind of diving into a lot of the bluegrass and stuff. Number one, I came up with a lot of country music. My mom and my dad were, my dad was a big country music fan, and he put me on to a lot of Dolly Parton. And my dad is the biggest Kenny Rogers fan I've ever met. Right? He put me on to The Gambler, and I was like, "What is this?" I know the whole joint. I can sing The Gambler right now. But so the music was real easy to dive into. Obviously I'm a nerd, but I'm a sports guy too. So it's easy for me to just sort of dive into worlds and just kind of get it, right?
Yep.
So when this whole thing happened, and when Rench approached me, Dolio told me about it, and Rench approached me about it, I was like, all right, cool. Like, it wasn't even a thing. And so my hope is that in doing this, we're making it a lot easier for other people to just sort of, to just like, all right, well, this is my thing. I'm going to put on some Unspoken Herd, and then I'm going to put on some John Prine, you know what I'm saying? And just sort of bounce within whatever world you want to bounce in. Because the easier you do that, the easier you can, bounce in those worlds and connect with people. And music makes it very easy for people to connect.
I think a prime example of that is how much respect you guys and the Accidentals have for each other. And if any person who didn't have any knowledge of it heard each band, they couldn't be different, right? but the fact that you guys appreciate so much and even want to maybe collaborate at some point.
Yeah. Well, that's why I put out on Twitter that these are genre-defiant artists who really just should be called excellent. Like, you know, there's no reason to put them into.
That's our genre. That is our genre.
Yeah. It's the excellent genre. Like, that's it.
Do you think
put that on Spotify? Put it on the excellent category.
From genres at some point, but we get so like, why do you even look? I don't know.
It's like you got to be able to describe stuff to find it. Like, but people start describing the individual. Like, you start listing the parts. Like, I don't know. There's like electric cello, and there's like some guitar. It's good. Whatever, you know.
Right? Yeah. Just listen to it. You'll love it. That's it.
Yeah. I got a shout out to Tara in the YouTube chat. She's been watching this whole thing, and we love it.
She's the best.
Holding it down.
Yeah.
We always like to shout people out.
Absolutely.
Want to see her at the show? Come on.
Yeah, Tara, you got to come to the Philly
why
show.
Why don't we talk a little bit about the upcoming show? Let me put that up there again, and you guys can talk a little bit about it.
And you know, we were gonna get, I think, to a minute ago to talking about the caverns, but before that, I just really quickly wanted to mention that we're gonna be in New Jersey because I live in New Jersey, and I'm
and Rench is Brooklyn.
We're gonna, man, and Philly. You know, like Jersey. I think we should play New Jersey more often, but I'll leave that alone. I'm just really psyched that we're playing in South Orange at the Performing Arts Center there. So that's coming up Saturday.
Yeah, SoPac, right? That's really
So Philly, look, you know, not that hard to get there.
Right. If one day doesn't work, you can still make it to a different show, not that far away.
Yeah, we're in the whole area.
Hey, you could do them both. What? Because I guarantee there'll be different shows.
Totally. Oh, and I was going to mention too.
Every show is different.
If Philly is a target place and you're not familiar with where this is, Brooklyn Bowl is a fantastic venue. It's actually connected to the same building that the Fillmore is in. So if you're familiar with that, and the neighborhood around it is great. Fishtown, Northern Liberties, lots of great restaurants, lots of great bars. You head down there early, you have yourself a great night, and definitely make an evening of it.
Really come to the Brooklyn Bowl. But those first 5 shows, that's this weekend, and then February 17th, 18th are all drivable from Lehigh Valley.
Yeah. That's exactly right.
Can
I make a request?
Frederick, Maryland, DC. Yep.
I think I remember this. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going way back to 2015. Did you guys play How I Could Just Kill a Man? Like, is that a song you guys do?
We've done it.
Can I request that one on the 17th?
Okay. We could do it.
Just for my own somebody on Twitch, which I'm so
That's my cousin. That's my cousin Colleen.
He's like, no Florida show. They're working their way down, guys.
Yeah. We're trying to get down there because I'm from Florida, and I've been wanting to get us down there.
Colleen, fly up to Philly and stay at my place. We'll be good.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like we so excited that you guys are getting back out there. So excited to talk to you, to be honest. And you spent so much time with us tonight. I appreciate that. And we're looking forward to you guys coming back to Bethlehem. Like, I know that we might not know the exact date, but we know that you're going to be back. And when that does happen, we're hosting you wherever you'd like to go.
Yeah.
We
look forward to it.
It's on.
Oh, for sure.
You know, the last time we played Music Fest, this had to be about 7 years ago because my little man was like 1 year old.
Right.
Yeah, and remember that was the one that I missed.
Yeah.
That was one I missed because my son was coming.
That's right.
Yeah.
It was a very, very kid show. I think you had all 3 of your kids out on stage with you.
They were all on stage with me,
That was wild,
man. It was real dope.
That was a good.
Did he win?
Nah.
It's okay. It's okay. He's all
right.
Not about winning and losing right now.
Yeah. So George, we weren't able to pull up that other.
I can bring anything up. What?
The one that we got right before the show came on. It was that I thought it might be nice to maybe go out with some of their live stuff that we could just let play and really kind of entice people to come on and join the shows.
Was that the one that I played?
No, it was.
No,
that one's on YouTube, so I'm just worried what the algorithms could do. The one that Sleeves sent right before the show.
Oh man, I don't think I had that loaded.
Okay, what I can do actually is I can add it to the recording, and rather than anybody who's going to watch it after today, would see.
What I would say is, guys, go. We put the links out there. Enter to win. I mean, you can win some tickets to Brooklyn Bowl. That's no small feat. Like, it's a lot of fun. We've seen a lot of shows down in that area, especially at the Fillmore. And be sure to check them out on Spotify or wherever you listen. Buy their stuff is more importantly. but check him out on Spotify or wherever, and then make sure you do that.
Become a barnstormer.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you come out to the show, make sure you stretch before you show up.
Because you'll be dancing.
We don't need you pulling a hammy.
That's right. And become a barnstormer to come to see us at a show and get your special VIP pass. We actually have like laminate hard passes for our barnstormers.
Oh, that's awesome.
VIPs at the show.
And this might be the future, in terms of how you interact with artists that you really care about. We're so used to spending a small amount of money on stuff that maybe we don't need. What do you spend $4 a month on a band, an artist that you really truly care about and you want to see? Does it make you feel a little bit better? Does for me.
You should try it and find
I'm
out.
trying to tell people.
Right.
We know our barnstormers personally. Like we really we talk to them at the shows. That's part of why we want them to have these VIP passes, so we can identify, oh, it's Jen, she's here, and Rusty's here, and we know these guys, and because they helped
I can see Phil.
get
He's
through
like
the pandemic.
signing up to be a barnstormer.
You gotta put you gotta put your Twitch handle on your pass, because we know like all the Twitch handles from like all the chats and the interactions, and you see like, hi, I'm George.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like RoboCop lovers 329. Oh, I know you.
But it is wild, even with this. Like we're streaming on Twitch as well. Like we see that as such a future, and I think engaging with artists the way that you're doing it, being live, and then doing the live stuff that you do, you're learning from them as well as being a fan. You guys are showing out the stuff that you're doing, and it can inspire other people who, maybe we talked to the Accidentals. They saw a performance in high school. They're like, let's do that. And maybe people see Gangstagrass and like, why aren't we doing that? Like you can sing country music well, and you can do a beat. Like, let's mix it together and see what happens.
Bring it on, man. It's lonely out here.
Yeah, I mean, at least a couple of the things that we did on the last album was actually inspired by the people, inspired during that sort of online live streaming that we were doing with people and engaging with them, and we put together a lot of those pieces live on the stream.
That's right. You asked about the creation process. That's how Do Better happened, through a kick the can on the live stream, where each person put a piece on top of another piece on top of another piece. And
that is a really cool video. Yeah.
That was, I think, our fiddle player who he also plays fiddle. He's a bassist, and he laid down the sick bass groove and kicked it over to, I think, me. And I started playing some banjo to it, and I kicked it over, and then there's a beat and there's some verses, and it came together in that iterative process. It was very cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
All I ask is that if you decide you want to do this with us, be dope.
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys live. I can't wait. And again, one more time, if you haven't signed up, be sure to visit brooklynbull.com/Philadelphia/contest.
Yeah, and they were letting the contest go till Friday. So if you are watching a recording of this, it is still eligible until I think it's the 3rd or the 4th.
And please enter, because we would like to do more stuff with Brooklyn Bowl. So we need people to enter. So they're like, hey,
so they're blown away.
Yeah, just join the contest, man. Everybody out there.
We would appreciate it. It would mean a lot to us too. So
for sure.
All right. Well, I'm gonna put this up here too, because we would ask you like what's going on, and I want to make sure that people have these sort of links. It's fun now to push people to Twitch, because it's not something that you're used to doing. But we watch so much Twitch. It's a lot of fun. So
yeah, it's definitely up and coming. I've seen a lot of obviously gamers use it, but a lot of musicians use it too.
Yeah, Gangstagrass.tv will take you direct to the Twitch channel.
We just passed 500 followers on Twitch.
Nice.
So,
all right. Well, I'm going to get to 5, and we'll talk shop. But again, Phil, I'm going to let you kind of wrap it up. But I want to say personally, thank you to each and every one of you, especially our son, for running around so much. I really appreciate.
Yeah, super appreciate your commitment.
You were like, we should use this in StreamYard class or something. You were on there in 3 different spots.
I mean, like I said, it's that's the hustle, man. It's got to get done. It's got to get done.
These guys are amazing dads. All 4 of these guys are dads, and it's amazing that they do what they do while also being incredible, devoted dads. You
Me
just
and,
got to
me and
witness
Phil
that
are
today.
dads too. Wait, the other way. Me and Phil are dads too. So we're
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it's like we could actually play a game of Hollywood Squares. But Sleeves, thank you so much for setting all this up. Rench, thank you for masterminding everything, and can't wait to see the show. Dan, Joe, Dolio, our son, you guys are all tremendous. Can't wait to see you live again, and definitely, like George said, hopefully we can bring it all back to Bethlehem at some point, so we can really get the Lehigh Valley fam out to see you guys.
Most definitely.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Man.
Thanks so
Awesome.
much.
All right. Well, I want to thank again each and every one of you. I want to thank everybody who is watching. Yeah, be sure to enter the contest. We do have some people who had entered to get some accidental swag. We're going to follow back up and name a winner. We'll reach out to you on social media. Brooklyn Bowl is going to take care of the winners for this contest, so continue to enter, and we're going to share more of those links in the comments. Gangstagrass, thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Come out and party with us.
Thank you guys for watching. Talk soon.